Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome to the stage, Dr. Jason Leong!
Okay, that was too long. That was too long. I'm very happy you guys are here with me because this year, ladies and gentlemen, this year, 2024, I celebrate 10 years. 10 years of me quitting my job as a medical doctor and being a full-time comedian. 10 years, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, every year I tour Australia, and last year an Australian reviewer summarized my career as medicine's loss is comedy's loss. And nowadays, I'm very privileged because I get to travel and perform comedy outside of Malaysia. It's very nice, you know. And sometimes I find myself in a city surrounded by people who may not know who I am or what I do for a living, which can be quite jarring because back in Malaysia, I'm very famous. Hey, fuck you, I'm very famous. That's the mark of someone truly famous when he has to say, fuck you, I'm famous. Okay, that's... No, this can happen at the passport control at the airport, you know, immigration line, or in an Uber. They don't know who I am. And they ask me quite nicely. They ask me, hey, what do you do for a living? And after 10 years of doing this, I know the moment I say I'm a stand-up comedian, because stand-up comedy is rare and unique profession, right? The moment I say I'm a stand-up comedian, I know the next 10 minutes will be just bullshit questions which nobody wants to answer. You know, like, hey, you're a comedian. You know Russell Peters? Hey, you're a comedian. You know Uncle Roger? As if I know these fuckers, okay? Just know me enough, right? And the worst one. Hey, you're a comedian. Tell me a joke. So after 10 years of doing this, when I see the situation about to unfold, I know the question is coming. I don't want to talk to them. When they ask me, hey, what do you do for a living? Immediately I go, I'm with Herbalife. Nobody wants to talk to me. Here's the passport, go fuck off. But yes, it's nice to travel. And last year was a nice year for me because last year I traveled and did comedy in the United States of America. That's right, yeah. It's the big market for comedy, the mecca of comedy. I did shows in New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and even parts of Canada. It was very nice. But a very unfortunate byproduct of the journey is that I met a lot of American white guys. And American white guys are a very special subspecies of humans. Because every single American white guy I met sincerely believe that they have the power to make a difference and save the world. Each one of them, he himself, one person, can make a difference and save the world. Very optimistic. Very different from Asian people. You ask any Asian person, hey bro, you want to make a difference and save the world? No, I want to make money and save for retirement. Okay, very different. You got no time to save the world, I'm very sorry, okay? There's a lot of differences between us, right? But in that regard, we are the most different. And I think it's because of our upbringing, you know. When children reach a certain age, when they can ask their parents the existential question, Mommy, Daddy, where did I come from? Now, American parents, you see this in the media and the pop culture, American parents will paint the most beautiful picture to answer that question. Mommy, Daddy, where did I come from? Oh, darling, you were born in heaven. Then the angels wrapped you in their white cloth. And then the bird, the stork, picked you up, flew across the sky, through the clouds, came up to our house, and dropped you in our arms. Oh, so beautiful. Of course, with that kind of origin story, of course, they can save the world. Right? You're the prophet, you're the Messiah, of course. Think about it, the angels delivered you from the heavens via bird to your doorstep. Same day delivery. That's amazing. Of course they can save the world. You ask Asian parents the same question. Mommy, Daddy, where did I come from? Chinese parents, we found you in the rubbish bin. We found you in the rubbish bin. And it's not the words that are hurtful per se. It's the tone. We found you in the rubbish bin. We weren't looking for you. Our lives were full and complete. One day, your mom and I, we went to throw rubbish. We walked to the rubbish bin. We opened up the bin, hey, you were there inside. Which means someone else threw you out. So out of the kindness of our good hearts, we took you in and loved you as our own. That's why we Asian kids, we grow up very neurotic. We have to work hard, save money. We have to pay back our parents, right? Every transaction of filial piety is paying back our parents. Western parents don't have this dynamic, right? So they can freely say, oh, my kids, they are the apple of my eye. Asian parents, my kids, ROI. So where's the... Your childhood is an investment. Where's the money? I'm waiting for the money. But of course, my friends, I'm not here to say that one type of parenting is better than the other. No, right? Because you see these American kids, Western kids, right? They're very confident. But inside, no knowledge, no skills. All hollow. You see Asian kids like us, right? We got knowledge, we got skills, but no confidence. Can't tell a good story, can't sell ourselves, no good PR. My daughter is 4 years old now. One day she'll grow up and she'll ask me, Daddy, where did I come from? I will say, darling, you were born in heaven. Then the bird picked you up and dropped you in a rubbish bin. Eh? Fair, got balance. No, you're special, be confident, but work hard as well. I need my money, right? It's very expensive to raise you, you know. But of course, it's not fair for me to say that all Asian people are very smart, right? Sometimes in comedy, we exaggerate to prove a point, right? I met some Asian people, fucking stupid. Last year, I met a new friend in show business. I met this guy, his name is Ray, 21-year-old graphic designer, okay? Very talented, very stupid. So I asked Ray to design a poster for my comedy shows. He came out with a poster, it was very nice. And we've agreed on a fee of 500 ringgit, right? So I texted Ray, said, hey, Ray, thanks for the poster, very nice. Please send me an invoice requesting me for the 500 ringgit so I can pay you. He didn't reply for a month. After a month, I texted him again, hey, Ray, you need to send me an invoice requesting me for the 500 ringgit so I can pay you. Now, it turns out Ray didn't know what an invoice was. Now, he could have Googled or asked a friend. But because Ray's age is also his IQ, he took a guess. You know how Ray sent me his invoice? He called me up. Hey, Jason, this is Ray requesting you for the 500 ringgit in my voice. Your mother, your voice, your mother. Some of you already know this because I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I don't practice any religion, right? But I have a lot of friends who are Christians, unfortunately. One of my best friends is a Christian. I've known him for 20 years. One of my best mates, okay? And every year, my Christian friend has a house party. And every year, I go. So last year, when I went to his house party, my Christian friend, he starts talking about religion, which is fine. Then he starts talking about the Bible, which is on brand. And then he starts saying some pretty outlandish stuff. He starts saying, you know, according to the Bible, our planet Earth is 5,000 years old. Immediately, I'm like, bro, according to the facts, he cut me off. I don't care about the facts. God told us through the Bible, our planet Earth is 5,000 years old, and that is good enough for me. I'm like, bro, the facts. I don't care about the facts. And by the way, Jason, it is very disrespectful of you to come to my house and to tell me otherwise. So things got a little bit tense and awkward. Like how it is now. And all my other friends, they turned to give me the look, right? The look that said, Jason, you atheist bastard. Every year you're atheist. Every year he's Christian. Every year you come to his house. And every year you do this shit. So for the sake of friendship, friendship more important than being correct, okay? His house, his party. I just let it go. Let him win. Let him have the last word. But the problem is I tend to hold on to grudges for a very long time. That is very Christian of me. So I want to take my revenge. And this is how I got my revenge, okay? My Christian friend has a 7-year-old son. No, relax. Not that kind of revenge. I'm not that Christian, just thanks. This is how I got my revenge, okay? My Christian friend has a 7-year-old son. And every year I buy this boy a Christmas present. So last year, for his present, after that incident, I bought the son a very big children's book about dinosaurs. You see the people who laughed? These people read. Those who didn't laugh, okay, fuck, let me explain. You see, my friends, every children's book about dinosaurs will inevitably have that one line. Dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago. And my fantasy is I want my friend to read the book to his son. All right, boy, you like dinosaurs? Okay. Dinosaurs went extinct. Fuck. Who gave you this book? Uncle Jason. He's a horrible comedian. That's why he has to do Herbalife. Dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago. Okay, the end. Finish. Go sleep. And in my fantasy, I want the son to reply, but Daddy, you said the earth is 5,000 years old. That means you are off by 64,995,000 years. That is quite a margin of error, Daddy. And yes, my vocabulary is quite advanced for a 7-year-old child in Jason's fantasy, which never happened. Now, I don't know whether that conversation will ever take place, right? But there's a good chance it might, because the book I bought them is still in their house. Until today, I wonder, what if my friend tries to reconcile these two things? The earth being 5,000 years old and the existence of dinosaurs. He reads the book to his son. Dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago. And before that, Jesus rode to battle, riding a triceratops. And Moses crossed the Red Sea by paragliding with the pterodactyls. Okay, the end. Finish. Go sleep. That is a true story, by the way, okay? I mean, not what's in the Bible, but there was a real incident with a real friend of mine. I've been telling these stories in preparation for my tour this year. And so last year, at one of the shows in Kuala Lumpur, my Christian friend showed up. He saw me tell the story just as how you heard it just now. After the show, he confronted me backstage. Hey, Jason, good show. I want to talk to you. He said, Jason, why is it towards the end of that story you say, Jesus rode to battle riding a triceratops? I said, well, it's just a funny idea, I said, hopefully the audience laughs. Because, but Jason, in the Bible, Jesus was never involved in any battles. I said, I know, but just a funny image, right? Jesus riding a triceratops, charging into battle. Moses provide air support, you know what I mean? He was very adamant. No, Jason, you must understand. In the Bible, Jesus was never involved in any battles. Those are the facts. I'm like, I don't care about the facts. Jesus riding a triceratops, that is funny to me and that is good enough for me. And it's very disrespectful of you to come to my show and to tell me otherwise. And that's how I lost a brother in Christ. Not very forgiving sometimes. I'm very glad that you guys are here with me because nowadays, when I'm on tour, when I'm doing shows like this, I'm actually away from my family. Just give a bit of a domestic update. Since the last time I saw you, my wife now works in Perth, at Royal Perth Hospital, and my daughter is with her. So whenever I do shows, I'm outside of Perth. And that's why I try to spend as much time as I can in Perth, And last year, in December, I was in Perth with my wife, and we wanted to go for date night, just the two of us, go for dinner. And my wife is Indian. So sometimes you go for Indian food, sometimes you go for Chinese food. This one particular evening, my wife wanted to go for Chinese food. So we both went to this restaurant in Perth, a real restaurant, you can Google this. We went to this restaurant called Uncle Billy's Chinese Restaurant. We didn't know that Uncle Billy's Chinese Restaurant is the shittiest Chinese restaurant in all of Australia. Singaporean food tastes better. Wait. Why are the Singaporeans upset? Relax, I said Singaporean food tastes better than the shittiest Chinese restaurant in Australia. Where's the insult? I don't understand. Anyway, so we went to this restaurant, right? And I ordered fried rice for myself and a plate of fried dumplings to share with my wife. And my wife ordered noodles. Now, when the food came, have you ever, just by looking at the dish, just by looking at the food, you know the food is shit. Right? The fried rice came, the rice was pale, barely fried, the egg was soggy, so appetizing, the aroma was not there. I know this is shit, but I was hungry. So I took one spoonful, I ate it, and oh my God, it was the shittiest fried rice I've ever tasted in my life. Okay? It's like they forgot to put in flavor and taste. So I pushed the whole plate of fried rice aside, I shoved the spoon inside there, I folded my arms, sulking, silent protest. Hoping that one of the waiters will see it and feel sad for themselves, okay? And then the dumplings came, right? Now let me try and explain the appearance of these dumplings, okay? Now imagine there's a giant dumpling. And then this giant dumpling shed out smaller dumplings. The dumplings look like shit. They all came black color, over fried, burnt clumped together. Like, what the fuck is this Asian fusion cuisine? But again, I was hungry. I took one of the fried dumplings, right? And oh my God, it was like eating charcoal. I could feel the carbon in my mouth because it was burnt. So again, I was very upset, very hungry. I pushed the whole plate of fried dumplings aside and I had it, right? So I told my wife, I said, darling, so sorry, I have to do this. So I stood up, called the manager over. Manager came and said, bro, I'm going to pay for all of this, no problem. However, I must give you my feedback. This fried rice is the worst fried rice I've ever had in my life, and these dumplings cannot be eaten because they are burnt. Now, have you ever, while scolding someone, you start to fall in love with the sound of your own voice? And then you go too far? I went too far. I started scolding the guy, I woke myself up in a rage, right? I reached a point where I said, this is when I went too far. I said, you know, I am Chinese. I support Chinese businesses. But this cannot be the standard of Chinese cuisine you present to the world. What the fuck am I saying? Suddenly I become so Chinese. I never felt more Chinese in my life. You must understand, I don't consider myself to be a typical Chinese. I'm not a typical Chinese. No, I don't speak Mandarin, I speak English. I'm not a typical Chinese. Right? I don't sing karaoke badly. I'm not a typical Chinese. I don't have unit trust from public bank. I'm not a typical Chinese. I'm not a typical Chinese. I'm not racist towards Indian people. Not a typical Chinese. My wife is Indian, right? Not a typical Chinese. But the moment I became so Chinese, the food was so shit, it awoke the dragon in me, understand? I swear, when I said this cannot be the standard of Chinese cuisine you present to the world, I swear, someone sounded a gong. Dragons flew over. People lit lanterns. That's how Chinese I felt, okay? It's so weird when I look back, you know, because my whole life, my education is Western. My outlook, global. But my stomach, 100% Shi Huang Ti right here. So I'm scolding the guy. Eventually the guy had enough of my face. So he comped our meal. My wife and I, we left the restaurant in silence. We walked to the car in silence. We got into the car. The moment the car doors closed, my wife turns to me, who the fuck do you think you are? She put me in my place. Who the fuck do you think you are? Suddenly you're so concerned with the standard of Chinese cuisine. I've listened to your entire comedy career. Half your jokes are shitting on Chinese people. You shit on feng shui. You shit on traditional Chinese medicine. You shit on Hungry Ghost Festival. Suddenly you're so defensive of Chinese cuisine. You're like the defender of Chinese food. You're like Xi Jinping of Chinese food. Who the fuck made you the god of fried rice and dumplings? Who the fuck do you think you are? She didn't say those words, but you get the gist lah, okay? You must understand, throughout the whole ordeal, right? This was my wife's body language, okay? So I've stood up, I'm giving out to the manager. My wife is seated down. She has also pushed a whole plate of barely eaten noodles aside. She's folded her arms, okay? Now, whenever the manager has too much of my face, he will turn to look at my wife, hoping to deal with a saner, more rational person. But when he looked at my wife, this was my wife's reaction. My wife was like, and then I remembered, that I never once asked her, how were her noodles? Throughout this whole thing, never once asked her. So in the car, I said, darling, so sorry, I never asked you. Actually, how were your noodles? My wife said, actually, my noodles were quite nice. I said, what did you push it aside? And she goes, I had to, because I have to support your performance. I have to support your performance. And then she goes on, darling, you understand how stupid you would have looked if you're standing up, scolding the guy about the quality of the food. Meanwhile, your wife next to you. Hey, dumplings the one I take, huh? Horrendous. But yes, we're trying to settle into Perth, and my wife actually enrolled our daughter into kindergarten last year in Perth. And when we enrolled her, something happened which threw us off, because we enrolled her, and then the school sent us a letter saying that we have to take our daughter for an interview. I said, wow, 4 years old, you want to interview a 4-year-old? We went for the interview, and it quickly dawned upon us that the interview was not for her, it's for us. They're trying to suss out if you're weirdos or not, okay? And the vice principal, a very nice lady, she started asking a lot of questions about the intrinsic values of our child. She was very concerned what's inside our child. Like she asked us, what is her personality like? What are her interests, her hobbies? How does she interact with her grandparents? How does she play with other kids? Like a lot of things to do with what's inside her. And it threw me off because when it comes to education, I'm quite simple-minded and traditional, right? When it comes to education, as far as I'm concerned, knowledge is outside my daughter's brain. I pay you money, you put the knowledge inside. Why must you care what's inside, grow the tree, who gives a fuck? And I realize now that that incident showed me how out of touch I am when it comes to education and schools, right? The shifting sense of time, right? Culture and things change as we grow older. The last time I was in school was when I was in secondary school, right? In my school called Bukit Bintang Boys School. Yeah. Bukit Bintang Boys School was in PJ, and I was there from the age of 12 to 17. It was a pretty good school, I'm proud of the BB boys. When I was in school, we had this legendary discipline teacher by the name of Mr. Agis. In every Malaysian public school, there is a discipline teacher, okay? And the role of the discipline teacher is to physically and psychologically abuse students to keep the school safe, okay? And so Mr. Agis was our discipline teacher. He was very scary, okay? He walked around the whole school brandishing a cane, Not sugar cane, not walking cane. A cane to whip students, okay? He had 5 canes, and he named those canes. Monday, Tuesday. Some of the canes have like blood on it, normal. And he's a very scary guy, okay? Now let me give you a description of him, right? Mr. Agis, when I was in school, he was about almost going to be 50 years old. He was an Indian man, medium height, medium build, okay? But his body was lean with a lot of muscles. Because before Mr. Agis became a teacher, he was an athlete. He represented Malaysia in the SEA Games as a long distance runner. But when he caned you swore he also played golf. The swing was amazing, okay? He's a very scary guy, right? His reputation always preceded himself, right? And also you must understand, right? In the Malaysian public school system, the title of discipline teacher is not an official title. You had to be a regular teacher first. Then the school would foist upon you the title discipline teacher to make you do more work. It's not like there's official key performance index for a discipline teacher. It's not like every quarter the headmaster will review. Okay, Mr. Agis, how many students did you beat up? 200, okay, here's the bonus. It's not like that. Which means Mr. Agis caned students out of passion. He did it for the love of caning. Like I said, his reputation always preceded himself, right? Every morning before the bell rang for assembly, all of us boys would be gathered at the assembly hall. 1,000 of us. And of course, we are boys, teenage boys. Be screaming, shouting, making a hell of a noise. And every once in a while, this cacophony of noise would descend into complete silence within seconds. Right? Ah! And every boy knew who just arrived. All of us would turn our heads to the door the entrance to the hall. And there, in the doorway, framed by the doorway, backlit by the sun, silhouette, a ball of hay rolling behind him for no reason. There stood Mr. Agis with his cane, like John Wick. Someone's going to die. And it was very scary because whenever he cane you, right before he cane you, he would yell at you. He will shove his face into your face and give you your talking to, right? He will shove his face in your face. How dare you come to my school and you disobey my rules? Face in your face. But what's even scarier is when his face is shoved in your face, you will then clearly see that one of his eyes don't look straight. One of his eyes look away. And you don't know which eye to look at. Till today, I don't know which eye is the correct eye. It's so scary, right? You're always on the back foot. And so you must understand, with one of his eyes looking away at the default setting, Mr. Agis achieves greater peripheral vision to detect mischief. People say this is a lazy eye. Mr. Agis had the hardest working lazy eye I ever seen in my life. So it's very scary because he's shouting in your face and you're on the back foot. Hey, which eye? Which eye? Which eye to look at? Which eye? There's one legendary story. One day, Mr. Agis caught 10 boys trying to escape school. They had jumped the fence and tried to run away from school. Mr. Agis saw them and caught them very fast because I think it's a sprinter also. He caught the 10 boys, he marched them in the courtyard, he caned each and every one of them, and he had to say this. He said, if I ever catch you running away from school again, I will cane you twice. From now onwards, I will always keep an eye on you. In a boys' school, one boy, sir, it's okay. Sir, which eye? Look at it. That boy is a legend. In my school now, there is a statue erected in the memory of that student. Because he died. After that, he died. He died very fast. He died immediately. He died. What a tragedy. But I have to defend Mr. Agis, right? Mr. Agis was a product of his time. He was one of the finest gentlemen I've ever met in my life because he really cared for the school. He cared for the boys, right? His beating was a way of telling you, I love you. Okay? And the boys loved him too, right? Because of Stockholm Syndrome, okay? But I have to defend him because you see, the boys in Bukit Bintang Boys School were quite shitty, okay? Now, again, in the Malaysian public school system, the school will select some of the better behaved boys to be prefects, otherwise known as the school snitches. So I became a prefect. But I was no snitch, okay? I lived in service of my fellow students, okay? So this is what we did. Now, I don't know whether the prefects after us continue this tradition, but every once in a while, the teachers will tell us that, hey, prefects, later today, you're going to conduct a spot check. And what a spot check is, we prefects go to the classrooms, open up the bags of the students, and if inside the bags, there were CDs, cigarettes, handphones, illegal items, contraband, right? We will confiscate those items, lost to the students forever, okay? Now, what we did was, whenever the teachers told us, hey, there's a spot check, we, the prefects, will tell our friends who are not prefects that, hey, later there's a spot check. And if they happen to have illegal items on them that day, for a very small and reasonable fee, we will take the items first, hide them in our prefect's room, then conduct the spot check, open up the bags, oh, nothing illegal, no problem. After school, we'll meet our friends in an undisclosed location. We give them back the items, and they give us some money. This was a very lucrative side business. Which means at the age of 16, I was already a corrupted official. Malaysia boleh. Now, I'm telling all these bits and pieces of stories because I'm leading up to one of the most epic stories I've ever had with a teacher, okay? So the year was 2002. I'm 17 years old. I walk into school one day thinking it's a normal school day, a normal Tuesday. I go into the assembly hall and I realize that there are far fewer boys than usual. It's like as if half the boys were somewhere else. And then I see one boy running around the whole school compound, yelling at the top of his lungs. Mr. Agis wants to see all the 16-year-old and 17-year-old boys in the field now. I was like, oh my God, what happened? Has he found out about side business? But that's just a prefect thing, right? Why would it involve half the school? Oh, maybe he found someone doing something unforgivable and there's going to be like a public beheading. So I'm actually quite excited. So I rushed down to the school field. Now here's the backstory. Our school field is quite big, okay? And every morning we station one prefect at the edge of the field to monitor latecomers. And this morning was my friend Luvin, a fellow 17-year-old student, my classmate, manning the post. Now the night before, there was a car parked outside the school field. In this car was 3 fully grown adult gangsters, okay? They drank the whole night, they were drunk. The next morning, which is this morning, they woke up hungover. They saw my friend Luvin, a 17-year-old boy, minding his own business. They went up to Luvin and they physically harassed him. And one of them poured whiskey all over Luvin's head. So Luvin, scared out of his mind, he rushes off to tell Mr. Agis what happened. Mr. Agis, fucking furious, he rushes down to confront these 3 adult gangsters. Now, Mr. Agis is also a very intelligent, strategic, cunning man. He knows he is just one man. He has to confront 3 adult gangsters. He's outnumbered. So on the way down, he got a boy to get him all the 16-year-old and 17-year-old boys to meet him in the field. So we were not in trouble. We were all going to be part of Mr. Agis's backup army. It was so epic. It's like Lord of the Rings, you know? Gondor calls for aid and Rohan will answer. The beacons were being lit, okay? So I rushed down to the field. I reached the field and I see at the edge of the field, the horizon, 500 of my fellow Bukit Bintang Boys students, my classmates, my comrade in arms, they had surrounded Mr. Agis and also trapped the 3 gangsters in a circle, like in a gladiatorial arena for combat. Right? Mr. Agis is shouting at the 3 gangsters, and the 3 gangsters are not scared of Mr. Agis. There are 3 of them. They shouted back. But the longer they waited, you could see the worry in their eyes. Hey, what the fuck? Where are these boys coming from? I need to study one. What the fuck school is this? Why am I being surrounded by all these boys? So I reach the circle and I can see the same look of lust for violence in all my fellow students. Because at that morning, we all had the same thought at the same time, which was, please, just one of them. Please, just one. Please, just touch Mr. Agis. Just touch him. Just give us the reason to beat the shit out of these 3 gangsters. Because we had done the math. 1, 2, 3, 500. I think we'll win, okay? We were so excited. Because that day was no normal school day. Fuck math, fuck biology. Today, we're going to beat the shit out of 3 gangsters. So at that moment, I turned to look towards the school building which I just came from, hoping to see other adult teachers coming and rushing to Mr. Agis's aid, coming to back Mr. Agis up. No teachers came. That morning, on that field, was just Mr. Agis and us boys. And then I see one lone boy running across the whole field. Right? The same boy who was shouting just now, right? He's the last to the party. He's running across the whole field. Mr. Agis! Like, come. Mr. Agis! And then as he got closer, we could see that in his right hand, he's holding Mr. Agis's cane. Mr. Agis! Your cane! And all of us were cheering for the cane. Half the boys has been beaten by the same cane. But they're cheering for the cane because they know it's not for them today. Today is not for them. Mr. Agis, your cane. And the circle automatically opened to let the boy inside. Mr. Agis, your cane. And Mr. Agis is so cool. He's facing off the 3 gangsters. He's being approached from behind, right? He didn't even turn his head to look behind. because his eye can see. I think his eye can see the rifle. He can see it. No. He just extended his arm. Like Thor receiving the hammer. This is a way cooler image than Jesus on the Triceratops. He just extended his arm, received the cane. Mr. Agis, your cane. Grabbed it. He shoved the cane under their noses. How dare you come to my school and you touch one of my boys? And you could see the gangster's eyes like, hey, which eye? Which eye? Which fucking eye? Which eye? That was the most epic day I ever had with a teacher, right? And that will never be replicated again in today's times. Can you imagine if it happened today? A teacher places students in danger, fighting off criminals. He'll be sued immediately. And so I've been doing this show in Australia. And in Melbourne, after I finished telling the story, there was like a gentleman seated 3 rows deep, okay? Somewhere there. Every time I mentioned Mr. Agis, he reacted quite loudly. He's a 45-year-old man, my senior, right? So I asked him, are you from Bukit Bintang Boys School? He said, yeah. I said, do you know Mr. Agis? He said, yes. And then he said, loud enough for the whole room to hear, I heard Mr. Agis passed away. Now I know he's still alive. But I couldn't help but fuck with him. I said, no, actually, he's still alive. In fact, sir, he's just right there, okay? And the guy said, huh, really? He's 45 years old, he's still afraid of Mr. Agis. He's still afraid of Mr. Agis. But Mr. Agis, that story left an indelible mark in my brain, because he taught me a lot of lessons, right? Mr. Agis, I've been telling you stories of when he's been aggressive, but he was not always aggressive. But when he was very strategic about his aggression, which taught me, don't be unnecessarily aggressive, right? Sometimes in my career, I've been unnecessarily aggressive. I spent a lot of time on Twitter last time, always picking fights with people on Twitter, not good. So I have to leave Twitter for my mental health. And I now spend a lot of time on Instagram, which is quite nice. Girls showing boobs, it's very nice, it's good for. But I also notice now there's a trend of people sharing motivational quotes on Instagram, which is quite nice, I enjoy it. But every once in a while, there will come a motivational quote which doesn't make much sense. It just sounds cool. But when you think about it, it sounds rubbish. This one quote caught my eye recently, right? I'm sure it will reach you through the algorithm one day. The quote goes something like, it's not my own, but the quote goes like this. Okay, it goes, better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. Ooh. Ooh. This is philosophical. It's always shared by men, okay? This is the male version of the female, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Same bullshit. Better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war, right? Always shared by men with too much muscles, too few friends, spend too much time in the gym. Always surrounded by, whenever they share the quote, it's always surrounded by photos of wolves, lions, everything on fire. It's very macho, okay? Now, I get the message, right? The message of the quote is better to be prepared than unprepared. I get it. When you put it that way, it sounds stupid. It doesn't survive surface level analysis. Let's talk about these two people. This gardener and a warrior. Let's talk about them, okay? So, there is a war. And this gardener shows up. He's ready to fight in the war. He knows he's not a warrior. He has no weapons, no armor. Shows up wearing overalls, watering can, some seeds. But he's ready to fight in the war. I argue it takes more courage to be a gardener in a war than a warrior in a war. A warrior in a war is just doing his job. A gardener in the war is fucking insane. And who's to say gardeners are useless in wars? No, gardeners are useful. They can dig trenches, hide bodies. They can plant things and feed the army. Historically, the number one killer of armies on the march is famine and hunger. So ironically, if you want to wage long-distance war, you better bring some gardeners, man. Now, meanwhile, on the other hand, there is a war. And this warrior is in the garden. What the fuck you doing in the garden, bro? The war is there. There are no wars fought in gardens. A warrior in the garden is lost. How you got into the garden? The garden left, right, for the war. And it's so uninspiring, right? The king has commanded all his soldiers to defend the nation to the death. The fate of the kingdom hangs on the balance of this war. His fellow warriors are bleeding on the battleground, giving up their lives for the nation. This warrior, the roses smell nice. What the fuck? And this quote came to my mind recently because of a very unpleasant incident. Before I tell you about this incident, I have to furnish you with a very important note before I tell this story. Important for the context of this story, okay? I've said it before, I'll say it again. My wife is Indian. Important, huh? Okay? So last year, my wife's cousin, who is also Indian, she invited us to her house for the birthday party of a 2-year-old son. The son is also Indian. So we go to the party, we have a nice time, you know. The party starts to dwindle down, and I'm outside in the lawn, striking up the conversation with the boy's father, the host of the party. My Indian wife's Indian cousin's husband, who is also Indian. So we're having a good time, two fathers bonding. Then he motions for us to sit down on the chair in the lawn. So we sat down, and he got two of his other friends to join in, right? And these two friends of his are also Indian. Okay? I like it how every time I say the word Indian, the tension in the room rises. I could have easily said I was the only one there not Indian. But I prefer this method of storytelling. So having quite a nice time. And after a while, the host of the party, I don't want to say his name, David. That's his real name. So David gets a notification on his phone. He picks up the phone. There's a news article about Malaysian news. He reads it. He gets really riled up for no reason. He puts the phone back in his pocket. And then when he speaks, you can tell the voice has changed. His face is contorted, right? He's angry now. He says rhetorically, you know, this country, Malaysia, is going to the dogs. I'm like, bro, why are you so angry? Hey, relax, man. We're at a party, you know. Just calm down, man. We're having a good time here out in the lawn. Relax, bro. We're all friends here. Right? But I didn't say that. I kept quiet. Then David Subramaniam continues. You know why? Because there is too much fucking corruption in Malaysia. Bro, now you're using foul language. There are children here, they can hear you. It's not pleasant. Right? What happened to the nice David just now? Right? Dial down the aggression, bro. Again, I didn't say this. I didn't have to say anything because I was outnumbered. Okay? So David continues, right? David who works in IT. His office is in Kuala Lumpur. And his house is in... Okay. So David goes on. You know why there's so much corruption in Malaysia? It's because of all these greedy Chinese people giving bribes. And when he said it, like, our faces were just one arm's length away. I genuinely have never seen this like unbridled racism in my face. Full blasted racism. And when it happened, I swear, my brain, in defense, came out with the stupidest thought I've ever had in my life. I thought, oh my God, have I stopped being Chinese? Have I become Indian? Have I spontaneously changed my race? Or have I somehow established such good rapport with this guy that he has forgotten that I am the member of the race that he secretly hates? Right? And let's be fair. Let's be honest. When he said that, it was a very dangerous situation for David. Right? Let's be fair. But it was an even more dangerous situation for me. Because I am a 39-year-old Malaysian Chinese comedian. Do you know how many racist Indian jokes I have in my head? I have a lot, man. Every year I think of new ones, you understand? And I want to clarify something, okay? I am not racist towards Indian people. I just have racist jokes about them, okay? Very different. I am not racist towards Indian people, right? I love Indian people. My wife is Indian. My in-laws are Indian. Mr. Akes is Indian. All my best friends, they are here today. They are Indian. I grew up with Indian people, right? My childhood friends are all Indian. I know so much about Indian culture, Indian life, Indian heritage, Indian traditions. I know about the Indian people's triumphs. I know about their struggles. I know Indian people so well. That's why I have so many racist jokes about them. Other people's racism comes from hatred and ignorance. Mine comes from love. My racist jokes come from love, you understand? But I'm very proud of myself. At that moment, my friends, I kept calm. Didn't say anything. Kept my composure. I was like, yeah, Chinese, yes. Chinese bribes, Chinese bad, Chinese bad. Now, David is not an idiot, okay? He knows he fucked up. So he tries to change the subject, right? All these greedy Chinese people giving bribes. Today very hot, huh? Wow. What a seamless transition. But it's okay. I decided to give him the out, right? Play along. Let's get the fuck away from this awkward situation. I was like, yeah, very hot, right? Very hot. Yeah, I've been sweating, David. I've been sweating. Can you see? I'm sweating just now. Very hot. And he's the host. He has to be nice, right? He saw my daughter playing in the distance. He goes, Jason, I can tell that Arya, my daughter, Arya is going to grow up to be a beautiful girl. I said, thank you. The moment we go back to that normal level of conversation again, the mask slips again. He goes back to default racist mode. He can't help himself. He must say this. And I'm sure Arya will get all her beautiful features from her Indian mother. Now it's 2-0. Who's counting? I am. I am now like Ultraman in the final minutes of a typical Ultraman episode. I'm losing the fight against the monster. But my red light is blinking. Nino. Say something racist now. So I have to say something racist back, okay? At least 1, 2, come on. So quick as a flash, I said, yeah, I'm sure Arya will get all the beautiful features from her Indian mother. But I like to think that I will contribute a very important feature as a Chinese father. And he goes, what? And I go, financial security. I felt so bad. The moment it escaped my lips, I felt so bad. Because you see, I tell jokes for a living. I get paid to tell jokes. I get paid to insult people. This guy is an outmatched opponent. He had no chance. He has no verbal skills. He's in IT. And there I am, being overly aggressive, pummeling him with my jokes verbally, being unnecessarily aggressive towards him in his own house, in his own lawn. I have become the warrior in the garden. And now, to balance the scales, I'm going to make fun of Chinese people. Now, to some of the non-Chinese here, they may not know this, but for us Chinese, we have a very important pillar in Chinese life and culture, which is this idea, this concept of ancestral worship, okay? Now, the idea is that we worship our ancestors so that they may bestow upon us blessings and guidance in our lives today. Now, I understand the blessings part. I don't understand the guidance part. Why do we need to seek guidance from people who lived and died thousands of years ago on how to live our lives today? They have no idea how to live modern lives. Now, to illustrate, I don't even ask for much guidance from my own father. And we're one generation apart. No, seriously, imagine I ask my dad, 65 years old. Dad, let me ask you, how would I optimize my social media algorithm so that I can sell more tickets? Your what? Algorithm. Oh, you do dancing now? It's okay, ask someone else. Hey, you should ask me, man. I'm your father, I'm your old man. Don't you know I've eaten more salt than you eat rice? That's why you have hypertension. That's why you stop the salt. One of the biggest crises of my life, 4 years ago, my daughter was born. And when she was 6 months old, she was always falling ill, not sleeping well, not eating well. And the most dangerous sign for her was that her weight was dropping off. She was losing weight. Dangerous sign for a 6-month-old infant. Now imagine, instead of consulting modern doctors of the day, pediatricians, instead, I consulted my ancestors. Imagine there's an ancestor hotline for me to call to talk to my ancestors, right? Pick up the phone, dial my ancestors. Okay, ancestor, 44444444. Excuse me, can you please connect me to my ancestor? Connect me to my ancestor from the Ming Dynasty. Hello, my son. I'm your ancestor from the Ming Dynasty. How can I help you? Hello, my name is Jason. I'm from the year 2020. I'm from Malaysia. Oh, Malaysia. Tomorrow's lottery number. No. No. I have a healthcare medical question. Are you up to it? Healthcare, of course. Back in the Ming Dynasty, I lived up to a ripe old age of 43. Okay, I have a baby daughter, 6 months old, very ill, weight dropping off. What is your guidance? This guy, my ancestor, different time, different culture, different era. Your baby daughter. Yeah, my baby daughter. Oh, then let it die. It's a girl, isn't it? Let it die, put in a rubbish bin, then make a boy. Don't waste your time with girls. Historically accurate, the joke. Don't be angry at me, huh? Be angry at the Ming Dynasty, okay? But to be fair, I don't want this system of ancestral worship to still exist in the future, where now I have died. I become an ancestor. Right? I'm up there in atheist heaven, enjoying a blowjob from an angel. The angel also atheist, it's okay. Then I get a phone call. Ring, ring, fuck. Okay, stop. Yeah, what the fuck do you want? He's my descendant. Hello, ancestor. We are your descendants from 2,000 years after you died. We are facing a major crisis. Earth is about to be bombarded with 50 different asteroids. We'll split the planet into two. Mass extinction event. Meanwhile, the radioactive waste has spread to 75% of the planet's surface. The oceans are boiling. And humanity is losing the war against the AI-controlled robots. What is your guidance? Stand-up comedian. My guidance. Okay. I've always said that it's better to be a warrior in the garden. Hello? As a comedian, I like I said, I travel around the world, and sometimes I see things in other countries which I wish happened for our country, you know. 2 years ago, Singapore did a pretty cool thing, okay? Singapore, for all their faults, did a pretty cool thing. I'm being serious. Singapore actually repealed Section 377A of their penal code, right? Now, that law criminalizes gay sex. Their law is gone now, so it's no longer a crime to be gay in Singapore. That's very nice, very cool. I'm very happy for my gay friends in Singapore. But when I talk to them, they also say that it's not true equality because they've actually made it harder for same-sex marriages to happen in Singapore. And that's not true equality, and I can empathize with that. But when I look at it from the lens of a straight married man, I can't help but think that is a double win. You know what I mean? Think about it. The government says you can have sex, but cannot get married. That is a double win, man. Like, how often do you see married people going, you know what, getting married was the best decision of my life? It really happens. Okay? And if you're gay in Singapore, you're in a uniquely advantageous position. Because we Asians, right? We straight Asians, we have to do the whole song and dance, you know? Like every time Chinese New Year or a family gathering, there will be one stupid auntie or uncle, no boundaries. Hey, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? When are you getting married? And we have to do the whole song and dance. No lah, I'm too old lah, I don't know lah, nobody wants me lah, I'm too ugly lah, I travel lah, I want my career lah. You find for me lah, I don't know lah, I don't know how to find someone lah, I don't know. It's bullshit. But if you're gay in Singapore, you can go, no, cannot. I'm a law-abiding citizen. In fact, auntie, you asking to get married, that is a crime. Hello, police? My auntie is committed a crime of having no boundaries. And I'm jealous because if you cannot get married, you don't have to plan a wedding. Planning a wedding is the biggest pile of bullshit. And the biggest pile of bullshit in that pile is planning your pre-wedding photography. Pre-wedding photography is bullshit, man. Where you have to pay thousands of ringgit to take photos where you will never look like that in a million years. I don't recognize any of my friends in their pre-wedding photography. And I'm so sorry, I love Indian people, but Indian people, your pre-wedding photography is the most ridiculous. I can say this, my wife Indian, it's okay. Your whole life, you're dark, okay? Dark is beautiful, it's okay. Your whole life, dark. But pre-wedding photography, suddenly you're all glowing with light. Suddenly you have the albino snowman filter. You're not that fair, don't lie to yourselves. See the album shining light in my face. But it's also bullshit for other races, okay? 2 years ago, my Chinese friend got married. He's my age at the time, 30-year-old Chinese man. And all his photos are just of him making ridiculous poses a Chinese 30-year-old man should never do in his life. I made so much fun of him. This is his worst pose. His worst pose. Bro, what the fuck you doing, bro? You're a loan shark. Are you strangling someone with love? What the fuck is this? My pre-wedding photography, I did it 15 years ago. I was on a beach in Penang. I was wearing a 3-piece suit. Jacket, pocket square, vest, shirt, tie, pants, belt, no shoes. I'm running along the beach, carrying my wife at 2 in the afternoon. Who does this shit? Who does this shit? Nobody does this unless you're taking a pre-wedding photography. I look like a moron. Right? My body was aching. I was dirty, thirsty, tired, hungry, sweaty. But I paid thousands of ringgit, right? I was in pain, but I had to make it work. My whole face was like... I hated those photos. I hated all those photos. But every year, Facebook memories reminds me. Every time I look at my pre-wedding photography, I thought, oh my God, I wish I was gay in Singapore. Like, fuck this. One of my hopes and dreams is actually this special. I don't know where it's going to end up, but whatever it is, I hope that it can help my career, especially in helping to crack the American market, you know. I want to go do more shows in America. And I can't help but find a role model in our very own Michelle Yeoh, you know. Michelle is so amazing. Michelle Yeoh won an Oscar, Best Actress and Oscar. She's so amazing, right? Michelle Yeoh is so inspirational for all of us Malaysians. She has shown all of us Malaysians that there's no limit to what you can achieve once you give up on Malaysia. But Michelle Yeoh is amazing, right? It's amazing, right? She worked so hard, you know. When she won her first Golden Globe, right? I started doing research into Michelle Yeoh's career. So amazing, right? She was in Crazy Rich Asians. She was in Shang-Chi. She was kicking ass with Jackie Chan in Hong Kong movies. She was also a Bond girl. She has done everything. Also in Star Trek. It's amazing. 61 years old. She won 1 Golden Globe. And I can't help but compare her to other Western actresses, right? Like Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence, half her age, 32 years old, 3 Golden Globes. All Jennifer Lawrence does is play the same character in all her movies. I'm going to do an impression of Jennifer Lawrence in her movies, okay? This is Jennifer Lawrence in all her movies. Ready? No. No. 3 Golden Globes. 3 Golden Globes. Michelle Yeoh had to work 10 times as hard to achieve the same thing as a Western actress, you know? And it got me thinking, right? Because the default setting of us Asians is that we are hardworking, right? That's the ethos. We like to work hard. It's our default setting, right? And nowadays, PC culture, we can't say white people are lazy. No, we cannot say that, right? White people are not lazy. They just love work-life balance. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. We have work-work balance. That's just work-life balance. It's okay. And I asked myself, why is it? Why is it our default setting is hard work? I think it's because of the art we consume, the myths, the mythologies, the legends, the stories we're exposed to. Now, as a child, I read this legendary Japanese comic, this manga, called Dragon Ball Z. Okay? Those of you who don't know Dragon Ball Z, the whole story of Dragon Ball Z is all about working hard. That's it. The main hero, this boy named Goku, his whole story is just working hard. He has to train hard to defeat the bad guy. The next bad guy is harder to defeat, so he has to train even harder to defeat the next bad guy, and so on and so forth. That's his whole life, working hard. As a child, Goku had to train martial arts, wearing a 20-kilo turtle shell on his back. That is child abuse, but you got to work hard. My favorite point in the whole story, Goku, as an adult, he fights a bad guy. The bad guy kills him. Goku dies. Then Goku's soul goes to heaven. And there, the king of heaven says to Goku, who just died, you have to work harder. The king of heaven sends Goku to a special training facility in heaven where Goku can train even harder. And when Goku has trained hard enough, the king of heaven gives him his life back. So Goku goes back to Earth to defeat the bad guy. What is the moral of the story to all Asian kids reading this manga? Even when you die, you have to work hard. Death will not liberate you from the need to work hard. Right? When Westerners die, it's rest in peace. When Asians die, it's back to work. Goku had no work-life balance. He didn't have life-death balance. He had to work hard. And this ethos of hard work is embraced in all Asian superheroes, not by the Western superheroes. Right? Look at the MCU. The MCU heroes are all lazy. They don't even work hard to achieve, to attain their superpowers. Look at Bruce Banner. How did Bruce Banner become the Incredible Hulk? How? He walked in front of the X-ray machine, gets blasted by rays, Incredible Hulk. One day, he's a scrawny scientist. The next day, he's the body of a bodybuilder with the pecs. The pecs. Didn't do one push-up, got pecs. No, Jason, you must understand the struggle is that this character, Bruce Banner, is always angry. Hey, fuck you, I'm also angry. Where's my body? If I walk in front of the X-ray machine, I get cancer. What the fuck? How did Peter Parker become Spider-Man? How? Bit by a spider. No. Accidentally bit by a spider. He didn't even plan to be bitten by a spider. No, he's not that smart. One day, he's a nerd getting bullied in school. The next day, he's swinging all over Manhattan, jizzing from his hands. Jizz, double jizz, come. So irresponsible. Didn't clean up his own cum. Other people clean it up. Didn't even train in gymnastics, swinging all over Manhattan. How did Steve Rogers become Captain America? How? Steroids, that's it. There is a scene of them pumping him with steroids. How on the nose is that? How did Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark become Batman and Iron Man? How? Money, that's right. 3-step program. Father rich, father die, superhero. So easy. The most famous superhero, Superman. How did Superman attain his powers? He was born superhero. He was born Superman. He was born with all the perks, powers, and privileges. He flies to Earth. No paperwork, no visa. Literally and figuratively an illegal alien. But because he's white, widely accepted by the community. Yeah, Man of Steel, our superhero, be our champion. So easy. The one that hurts me the most personally, right, is Doctor Strange. You follow his story. Dr. Strange actually worked hard to become a neurosurgeon on his own accord. One of the hardest branches of medicine, neurosurgery. He gets to a car accident, hands all fucked up. Can't do surgery. Then he does what a lot of white people do when they're sad, right? He goes backpacking, okay? to find himself. He finds himself in an exotic country. And how does he get his powers? How does he train to get his powers? He gets given his powers. He's given his powers by a white lady pretending to be Asian. One day, his hands all crippled. The next day, he's fighting aliens with CGI. Boom, 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 boom. Within one day, he becomes Sorcerer Supreme, the CEO of the sorcerer world. Straight up. No internship, no interview. Straight up, Sorcerer Supreme, the top sorcerer in the whole magic realm. One day. Meanwhile, the Asian guy, Sorcerer Wong, who has lived his whole life in the temple, he becomes the assistant to the white guy. Fuck you, MCU. Fuck you. The reason I get so riled up is because I've been showing some Disney movies to my daughter, hoping that she'll get some moral lessons because every Disney movie has a moral lesson, which is nice. But after watching 80 times, I begin to see an unhealthy pattern, right? Because I see that Disney movies, they make it so much easier for the white girls to become Disney princesses compared to the Asian girls, right? Now look at the movie Cinderella, okay? Cinderella starts off a movie doing household chores, right? I don't like. I want to go party. Cinderella wants to go to the ball to meet the prince, but she got no money, no dress. So what does she do to accomplish this impossible task? What does she do to accomplish this impossible dream? Nothing. She doesn't work hard. For no reason, the fairy godmother comes down and gives her everything. Everything for free. Free slippers, free gown, free dress, free tiara. Not enough. Free transportation to the ball. Now, here, pumpkin carriage. Call Uber for you. She goes to the ball, right? This gold digger. She meets the prince, they dance. She gets a bit horny. She loses track of time, right? So, oh no, 12 minutes, I have to go back. Bye. Rushes off, bye. Everything, she leaves alone the slipper. It's okay, rush back. And then 12 minutes strikes, everything back to normal. Except the slipper. For plot reasons. Prince Charming finds a slipper. I've fallen in love with the woman I just met. Can't remember what she looks like. And now the prince must scour the whole kingdom, behaving like a creepy pervert. Show me your foot. Show me your foot. Sorry, show me your foot. Show me your foot. It's okay, I'm the prince. Show me your foot. Prince finds Cinderella, kiss, fall in love, happily ever after, Disney princess. She didn't work hard. She didn't find the prince found her. So passive. Snow White. Snow White is saved from the forest by 7 dwarfs. They give her food, shelter, accommodation, roof over her head, a bed to lie on. Don't have to pay rent. So nice. Towards the end of the movie, Snow White becomes princess. She marries the prince. She becomes royalty. She's rich now. She goes back to the house of the dwarfs on horseback. She gets off the horse. She gives all the dwarfs a hug. And then she gets back on the horse and fucks off. She never helped the dwarfs. The dwarfs are still in the same socio-economic struggle as when they first met Snow White. Imagine how they feel. What an ungrateful bitch. What the fuck? We have to steal mine gold. It's her gold now. What the fuck is this? Don't get me started on Sleeping Beauty. What is the struggle? What is the character arc? I'm too beautiful. Sleep. Prince comes, kiss her without consent. Fall in love, happily after, Disney princess. So easy. She didn't do anything in her movie. She literally slept through her own movie. Now you compare these 3 white women to what Mulan had to do. Mulan, in the first act of the movie, she has to serve in the Imperial Army, disguised as a man to safeguard her father's honor, save the father's life. Goes into battle with one genius move, destroys the invading army, saves the general's life, goes to the palace, saves the emperor's life, right? She kills the bad guy. She takes up the sword of the fallen villain, gives the sword to the emperor. The emperor bows to her. The whole of China bows to her. And then only then she becomes a Disney princess. She worked 10 times as hard as the other white girls to become a Disney princess. Mulan is the Michelle Yeoh of Disney princesses. But that's not enough. Towards the end of the movie, her last scene, Mulan goes back to her village, goes back to her house. She has saved the whole of China. Her mother and her grandmother go, good job. But you see the handsome man you just saved? He's outside the house, inviting for dinner. Because for an Asian family, you can save the whole of China. Your parents still go, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? When are you getting married? Mulan's like, I wish I was gay in Singapore. Fuck this. So I was in Perth, January, right? Spending time with my family. And then February came along and I had to come back to KL because my parents still live here and it's Chinese New Year, right? And I flew back from Perth to KL via Air Asia, right? Because the Herbalife payments haven't come in yet. But I also had to work. I had to do some corporate gigs. in this hotel ballroom. So I entered this hotel's elevator. And because it's Chinese New Year, there were a lot of Chinese New Year posters in the elevator, okay? And the biggest one caught my eye, right? So this is a typical Chinese New Year poster sponsored by a beer company. So there's a picture of a beer mug filled up to the brim with beer. And in the middle, there's a picture of a plate of yisang, okay? Now for the benefit of people watching, right, who are not from Malaysia, yisang is a Chinese New Year tradition. It's a big plate of vegetables, some raw fish, some crackers. And the tradition is every Chinese New Year, we Chinese will gather together as a family or a bunch of friends. We'll take big chopsticks. We'll grab the vegetables and throw the vegetables high up in the air, okay? It's very messy, we waste some food, but it's okay, no one is starving in this world. So as we throw the vegetables high up in the air, we'll shout manifestations or affirmations like wealth, fortune, prosperity, career good, money, cash, gold, more prosperity, more money. And then if you have time, good health, okay? So that's the Chinese New Year tradition of yisang. So beer mug, yisang, and the words on the poster was, this Chinese New Year, toss for prosperity. Toss, T-O-S-S, right? Makes sense because that's the lingo, right? You want to go for yisang, we toss yisang because we are tossing the vegetables in the air, right? Toss yisang. This Chinese New Year, toss for prosperity. Okay, makes sense. Didn't think much about it. Then the doors opened and in walked in these two American guys, okay? I knew they're American immediately because I can hear the arrogance. Right? They're walking like, yeah, we're gonna save the world, yeah. So they walked in and they saw the poster. This Chinese New Year, toss for prosperity. One says to the other, oh my God, these Malaysians, they don't even know how to spell toast. It's toast for prosperity, not toss for prosperity. Oh my God, they don't know how to spell toast? And I got upset. So I had to correct them. I said, excuse me, this poster refers to the Chinese tradition of yisang. I thought to myself, how do I quickly explain yisang to Americans? Yisang, plate of vegetables, some raw fish, some crackers. It's like a salad. So I said, every Chinese New Year, we Chinese will get together and toss a salad. They're like, oh, okay. Then the doors opened and they walked away. I reached my destination. I tell my friends, guys, you won't believe what just happened in the elevator. One of my friends said, Jason, in American lingo, the phrase tossing salad refers to the act of putting your tongue into another person's asshole. Auntie, I'm not making this up. Auntie, you can Google this. Don't Google image. I didn't know. Eating ass in America is tossing salad. So I've said to these two American guys, every Chinese New Year, we Chinese will get together and toss a salad. And I didn't have time to explain further. They left at the moment, which means for at least a few minutes, they were thinking, oh my God, the Chinese will do whatever it takes for prosperity, man. They are willing to go through a lot of shit for money. Didn't have time to explain further. But in hindsight, it's better because if I explained further, it would have sounded worse. Every Chinese New Year, we Chinese will get together and toss a salad. It's a family affair. The children are involved. The grandparents are involved. It's very loud, it's very messy. And we all use chopsticks. That's the show. You guys been amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you. Good night. I've done this show, I believe, 50 times. I'm being serious. I've done this show 50 times. This particular performance is very important for me because I have a very special guest in attendance, none other than my discipline teacher from Bukit Bintang Boys School, Mr. Agis. Mr. Agis is right there. Where's Mr. Agis? That's Mr. Agis! That's Mr. Agis! Okay, Mr. Agis is smiling. I'm so... Mr. Agis, two messages I want to say to you. Number one is, the stuff about the prefects is just a lie. Never happened. But the second message I want to tell you, Mr. Agis, is that I don't know about the other Bukit Bintang boys, but most of us from my year, we've all turned out to be pretty okay men in our lives, and I think it's because of you. Thank you so much, Mr. Agis. Thank you. Thank you. Most importantly, thanks to all of you for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.